Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English World channel, your English learning channel. I'm Sarah.
Hey, Sarah, and hello to everyone listening. It feels really good to be here again. I like these quiet beginnings.
Me too. There's something peaceful about starting slowly. No rush, no pressure, just arriving.
Yeah, it feels like sitting somewhere comfortable after a long day. You don't need to perform, you don't need to impress anyone. You just sit and breathe.
I hope our listeners feel that too, wherever they are. At home, at work, on a bus, or maybe just resting.
And if you're listening right now, you don't have to understand every word.
Just listening is enough. That already counts.
So, Sarah, how are you feeling today?
I feel steady, a little thoughtful, like my mind has been working, but in a calm way.
That sounds nice. I feel something similar. I've been thinking a lot lately about progress, about growth, about learning slowly.
That's interesting you said, I've been thinking.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
And that's the beauty of today's topic.
So that's where we're going.
Yes, today we're naturally talking about the present perfect continuous.
That sounds long and maybe a little scary.
It sounds complicated, but in real life, it's actually very human.
Because we use it when we talk about something that started in the past and is still happening now.
Or something that has been happening for some time.
Like when I said, I've been thinking.
Exactly. You started thinking earlier, and you're still thinking now.
And we say that kind of sentence all the time.
At work, at home, while learning English.
For example, I've been practicing my pronunciation.
Or, she's been working late this week.
Or, we've been waiting for the bus.
These sentences feel natural. They describe ongoing effort, ongoing action.
They describe something that hasn't just happened once.
Yes, it has been happening, and maybe it's still happening.
I like that, because learning English is not one moment.
Exactly. It's something you've been doing, day after day.
And maybe sometimes you don't even notice your progress.
But it's been happening.
Quietly, slowly, in the background.
So today, we're not teaching rules. We're not focusing on structure.
We're just living inside the tense.
Talking about real life, about effort, about time passing.
And about the feeling of ongoing growth.
If you're listening right now, you can already say something simple.
Like, I've been learning English.
And that sentence alone is powerful.
Because it shows effort and time. And commitment.
And that's enough.
So let's continue gently. Slowly. Naturally.
David, when you think about your week so far, what comes to mind?
I've been working quite a bit. Not in a stressful way, just steadily, day by day.
That sounds calm. When you say, I've been working, it feels different from just, I worked.
Yes. It feels more alive, more ongoing, like the effort is still connected to now.
Exactly. It shows duration. It shows time passing.
And I've been trying to stay focused lately. Some days are easier than others.
I understand that. I've been waking up earlier this week, and I've been noticing how that changes my mood.
That's interesting. So it's not just one morning, it's something repeated.
Yes, it started a few days ago, and it's still happening.
That's the feeling of this tense. Something that started before and continues into now.
And learners use it all the time without realizing it.
Like when someone says, I've been studying English for months.
That sentence carries commitment.
It shows effort and patience.
It also shows that the journey isn't finished.
Right. You're still studying. You're still improving.
I think that's why this tense fits learning so perfectly.
Because learning isn't one moment. It's something you've been doing over time.
Yes, and sometimes when progress feels slow, you forget how long you've been trying.
That's true. You forget the hours, the listening, the practicing.
But if you pause and say, I've been practicing every week,
You suddenly see your effort differently.
it feels real.
And maybe even impressive.
Sarah smiles softly. Yes, quietly impressive.
Another example from daily life, I've been exercising more.
That sentence feels active, ongoing, positive.
It shows change, but not instant change.
Exactly. It shows gradual progress.
I've been trying to drink more water lately.
That's a very human example.
It's small, but it's consistent.
And that's what this tense often describes, consistency.
Not perfection, just repetition over time.
Right now, many listeners could say, I've been listening to English podcasts,
And that sentence alone shows dedication.
because it means this isn't the first time.
It's something repeated, something continued.
And maybe they've been feeling unsure sometimes,
Yes, learning always has ups and downs.
but they've been continuing.
And that matters.
When you say, I've been feeling tired lately,
You're not saying it happened once,
you're saying it's been happening.
and that's honest.
This tense gives space for honesty,
It describes effort, emotion, time passing,
without needing exact dates,
without needing exact numbers.
just the sense of ongoing action.
And that's how real life feels.
Not one moment, but many small moments connected together.
And English can describe that beautifully.
So if you're listening right now, maybe you can quietly think,
I've been learning. I've been trying. I've been improving.
even if improvement feels slow,
It's still happening.
and we'll keep exploring that feeling.
Gently, step by step.
David, when you think about work, not just tasks, but the emotional side of it, what comes to mind?
Honestly, I've been feeling more aware of my limits lately.
That's interesting. When you say, I've been feeling, it sounds very reflective.
Yeah, because it hasn't just happened once. It's something I've been noticing over the past few weeks.
That makes sense. Work isn't just about projects, it's also about how we've been handling pressure.
Exactly. I've been trying to manage my time better. Not perfectly, but more intentionally.
That's such a healthy sentence. It shows effort, not perfection.
And effort is realistic.
At work, people often say things like, I've been working on this project.
Yes, and that shows the project isn't finished yet.
It shows progress. It shows process.
And sometimes it shows exhaustion, too.
True. Like when someone says, I've been working late every night.
That sentence carries weight.
It carries tiredness and maybe even frustration.
But it also shows commitment.
That's why this tense feels emotional. It holds more than just action.
It holds feeling and duration.
Have you ever noticed how people talk about stress?
Oh, yes. They often say, I've been feeling stressed.
That sentence feels very real, very human.
Because stress usually builds. It doesn't appear suddenly.
Exactly. It grows over time.
And when someone says, I've been trying to stay calm,
You hear the effort.
you hear the struggle, but also the intention.
That's something learners can use too.
Yes, instead of saying, I am bad at speaking,
They can say, I've been trying to speak more.
that feels softer, more hopeful.
It shows the process, not the failure.
And learning English is definitely a process.
Sometimes you've been understanding more.
Sometimes you've been forgetting words.
Sometimes you've been feeling confident.
Sometimes you've been doubting yourself.
All of that is normal.
And this tense allows you to describe that journey honestly.
Without shame, without pressure.
I've been noticing something interesting recently.
What's that?
The more I focus on progress, the less I compare myself to others.
That's powerful. And when you say, I've been noticing, it shows growth.
It shows awareness over time.
Awareness doesn't happen in one moment.
It develops slowly,
Just like language.
just like confidence.
If you're listening right now, maybe you've been practicing quietly.
Maybe you've been replaying episodes.
Maybe you've been listening while working.
All of that counts,
Because repetition builds comfort.
and comfort builds fluency.
Even if you don't feel fluent yet.
You've been moving forward.
And sometimes we need to remind ourselves of that.
Yes, because progress is often invisible,
But it's been happening
in small ways,
day by day.
and that's enough.
Let's continue gently.
Without rushing, without judging.
Just noticing the journey. When I think about travel, I don't only think about places. I think about movement, about change over time.
Yes. Travel is rarely just one moment. It's something that unfolds slowly.
Exactly. When someone says, I've been traveling a lot this year, it feels different from, I traveled last month.
It feels ongoing, like the experience is still shaping them.
Yes, it suggests that the journey has been influencing their life.
And maybe even changing how they think.
I've been noticing that too. When people travel, they often say, I've been learning new things about myself.
That sentence feels reflective, almost emotional.
Because it shows growth over time. Not one lesson, many lessons.
Travel stretches you, and language does the same thing.
That's such a good connection. When you're in a new country, you might say, I've been trying to understand the culture.
Or, I've been practicing speaking with locals.
Those sentences feel active and brave.
Yes, because they show effort, not perfection.
And sometimes travel is not always comfortable.
True. Someone might say, I've been feeling a little homesick.
That sentence carries emotion and duration.
It shows that the feeling has been present for some time.
But it doesn't sound dramatic. It sounds honest.
I think that's why this tense feels so human.
It allows space for complexity.
For mixed feelings, for long processes.
Like when someone says, I've been thinking about changing jobs.
That's not a sudden decision.
No, it's something that has been growing inside them.
And that growth takes time.
I've been reflecting on that lately. How much time matters.
Time shapes everything, even confidence.
Especially confidence.
When learners say, I've been trying to speak more English,
I hear courage.
me too, because trying repeatedly is not easy.
And sometimes people don't see their own effort.
They only see the mistakes.
But if they pause and say, I've been improving slowly,
That changes the perspective.
it shifts from judgment to awareness.
From frustration to patience.
Travel and life changes often require patience.
Yes, if someone says, I've been adjusting to a new city,
You know that adjustment takes weeks, maybe months.
and that's okay.
It's normal for change to feel slow.
Just like language learning.
Exactly. No one becomes confident overnight,
They've been building it, little by little.
sometimes without noticing.
And that's the beauty of gradual effort.
You don't always see it happening.
But it's been happening.
If you're listening right now, maybe you've been doubting yourself.
Or maybe you've been comparing yourself to others.
That's normal, very human.
But maybe you've also been growing quietly.
You've been listening. You've been understanding more.
You've been staying with it.
And staying with something is powerful,
It shows commitment.
even if it feels small.
Small consistency creates big change over time.
That's true for travel, for work, for language.
For life.
And the present perfect continuous captures that feeling beautifully,
It tells the story of ongoing effort.
without demanding perfection,
Without forcing results.
just recognizing time.
And honoring it.
Let's carry that awareness into our final part.
Slowly. Calmly. Without pressure.
As we reach the end of this conversation, I keep thinking about one simple idea:
What's that?
how much effort people have been putting in. Quiet effort, invisible effort.
Yes. I've been thinking about that too. Learning often happens quietly.
It doesn't always feel dramatic. It doesn't always feel exciting.
Sometimes it feels repetitive, slow, even frustrating.
But that doesn't mean nothing is happening.
Exactly. It just means progress has been unfolding gradually.
When someone says, "I've been practicing every day," that sentence carries strength.
It shows discipline and patience.
And patience is powerful.
Very powerful, especially in language learning.
If you're listening right now, maybe you've been doubting yourself.
Maybe you've been wondering if you're improving fast enough.
Maybe you've been comparing yourself to others.
That's something many people have been doing.
But comparison rarely helps.
It often creates pressure.
And pressure makes speaking harder.
But if instead you say, "I've been learning at my own pace,"
That sentence feels kinder,
it feels fair.
because everyone's journey is different.
Everyone has been facing different challenges,
Different schedules, different responsibilities.
different fears.
And yet, you've been continuing.
You've been listening. You've been trying.
You've been showing up.
Even on days when motivation felt low.
That matters more than perfection.
Much more.
The present perfect continuous is not just grammar.
It's a way of honoring effort over time.
It says, this process has been happening.
And it's still happening.
You're not finished. You're not behind.
You're simply in progress.
And progress is beautiful.
Even when it feels small.
Sometimes the most important growth is the kind you barely notice.
Yes, like understanding one more sentence or feeling slightly less nervous.
Those small changes add up.
They've been building quietly.
If you take one thought from today, let it be this:
You've been learning.
you've been improving.
And you've been moving forward
Slowly, naturally.
without needing to rush.
And that's enough.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
For listening, for reflecting, for continuing your journey.
We've been enjoying these conversations with you.
And we'll keep having them.
Gently, step by step.
Until next time, take care of yourself.
And remember, you've been doing better than you think.
Goodbye for now.
See you in the next episode.